beasts, aren't they? Chuffed to bits. The smallest little thornback ray. I'll just concentrate on not losing the rod over the side. And its eyes, it's got amazing eyes. Doggy in the boat, covered in mullet. There's a bit of weight to that, you know. And that's what we want, don't we? We don't want the same all the time. We want something different, a good old show. Hello and welcome to the channel. Today I'm in the workshop, beavering away, and I'm experimenting. I'm making rigs and I'm trying something out. So I've seen a lot of people talking recently about making up and over rigs using Trident tackle. And my preferred definitive up and over rig, my smooth hound ray rig, is made with Gemini tackle. And I've got Trident tackle, so I thought, give it a go. But when I'm going to make this one, it's not going to be a full running ledger, it's going to be captive at the bottom. And that's quite important because I believe, or I think, and I'm going to try it out, that smooth hounds are going to hook themselves more positively if they're direct onto the weight, as opposed to the running ledger and the whole line and the rod tip taking some of the initial pull out of the take. So where this is leading is I'd like to try and make an up and over rig that is adjustable but is captive at the bottom, utilising Trident tackle, which makes it a lot more cost efficient. There's a massive difference between Gemini and Trident tackle prices. And as always, I've got all my stuff, I've got my marks on my bench, I'm good to go. I'll share it with you guys. Please comment if you've got anything that you've got to say about this. There's going to be aspects to this that's going to get people talking. Good, bad or indifferent. Some things on this I think personally that people won't like. But this rig is for experimentation. I want to try it out to compare, to see what the differences are. First up, for the body, I'm using Asso, and it is Ultraflex, £70. Yeah, the reason why I'm using this is because the fishing that I'm going to try this rig on tomorrow isn't for larger fish. It's going to be for bass. I'm going to try and target some bass, estuary conditions, but I need the casting distance, and I need 2.5 foot. Because I want a 2.5 foot rig body, I'm going to measure out 3 foot with clippers. They were staring me in the face and I couldn't see them, and I'm going to cut at a 45-degree angle to make it easy to feed on the components. So I've got 3 foot 3 foot rig body. I was just looking at that because I was thinking, oh, something wrong with that, but there isn't. There's nothing wrong with it. It's all good. So on the bottom of the rig, I'm going to use a Termalink. This is all Trident tackle, so a Termalink. Really like these, and they've brought out a modified version of the Termalink now. Looking at it, I think it's got like a little shroud to protect the line at the top. I've not seen anything wrong with the original Termalink, and I'm still using up my original Termalinks. They're amazing for price. They are really good for price. Can't complain at the price that they're putting this stuff out at. So I've just done, use whatever knot you want. Blood knot with clench, grinner, the 3-turn spinny roundy bit. I'll do another knot in a minute. Trimming off the tag end. And what I've actually done is I've just put a Termalink on the end of that. I need to feed some components on. And this is where we might get a little bit controversial. People are either going to love it or hate it. Breakaway adjustable crimps. Breakaway adjustable crimp tool. Breakaway adjustable crimps. Hard to pick up because they're small with my little sausage fingers. And this is tiny. Look at it. Ding, 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 ding. That's it made up. It's just a sleeve with a rubber insert, and then the end of the insert needs to be trimmed because you will not get the end through it. Let's have a look, make sure. Yeah, and there's a hole all the way through it. So I've just used my clips, and the first bit is to feed on an adjustable crimp. Possibly wet the line first to make it easier, and the 40, so that's just going straight on the line. adjustable crimp. Next I'm going to use an oval bead, and this is going to be hard to show you there, but that's a tiny little luminous oval bead. Mustard one, I think these are. About 4mm. And then a snood swivel. Gemini Trident aren't producing snood swivels that I'm aware of at the moment, so this is a Gemini snood swivel. And then another bead. Let's get the beads on. Get your bead on. Okay. And then we will need another adjustable crimp. Just snipping it off. I'm doing this quite quickly because then I'll give you a good show and then you can see what we've done. Okay, so that is the first set of components. We've got a Termalink, a crimp, a bead, a hook, snood, swivel, a bead and another crimp. That is the bottom end of our rig. Okay, working up to the top, we need to use the Trident hangover matched with an SRT spring and crimped in place so that we can do all our bits and pieces. So another adjustable crimp. I like to put a bead between my SRT springs instead of sitting them directly onto a crimp. So this is one of the very weeny little 3mm clear Gemini beads. I like them. I like them. Probably doesn't really serve much of a purpose if I'm completely honest, but hey, it makes me happy. An SRT spring, which is what, 1.5 inch little like clock spring arrangement thing. If I'm pulling faces, it's because it's big line into a small spring, and that looks like the end of that spring's actually damaged. Well, I'll be. Not all tackle's always perfect, you know. See if it'll go in from the other end. Yep, managed to push it through. And the Trident hangover, which needs to go, let's get you focused in, that way up to the top of the rig, on top of the spring. I'm going to be really extravagant now, and it's probably unnecessary, but I'm going to do it nonetheless. I'm going to put another little bead on top of that hangover and then a crimp. And I'm sure there's people looking at their screens now going, what a waste, you don't need that. Well, I'm going to put it on. I'm going to have a little experiment and a play and see how we get on. So a tiny little weeny whiny bead and the last crimp. I'm going to actually fish with these tomorrow. I got my bait, picked my bait up today, didn't dig it. Okay, so all of the components in their entirety, but not crimped in place. So we have a Termalink, a crimp, a bead, a snood swivel, a bead, a crimp, a small bead. That bead doesn't really need to be there. An SRT spring, Trident hangover, a little bead and a crimp. Quite honestly, both of those beads do not need to be there. But that's how I'm making this rig today. And to hold that all in, make sure it doesn't go anywhere and cause us all sorts of problems, he says, not being able to find one, I need a 85 or 100 pound swivel to go on the top. The reason why I put a swivel on the top is because I connect it to my main line using a Termalink, and that's what it clips into nice. Okay, so I'm just going to clip that onto that way, moisten my knot and pull it down. Trim my tag end, and that is the rig in its entirety, I just now need to use the crimp tool. And this is interesting for me because I've not used one of these crimp tools. So this is the Breakaway crimp tool, and you just lay it centrally into the tool, and I am going to give myself, I don't know, it's adjustable, so I'm going to give myself initially that sort of distance. And the crimp tool bottoms out and can't be over crimped, so I'm interested to see it's quite tight, but it is adjustable. Offer the beads down and the snood swivel. The next adjustable crimp that's going to hold that captive. Centralise everything. And crimp. So I've given myself some room so that swivel can actually turn, and we've got a crimp either side of the beads and the swivel with the termilink on the end. The termilink. And we are going to go almost to the top of the rig and possibly down the same sort of distance, and we need to crimp that in position there. It doesn't have to be exact because we're going to cut a hook snood to match, and I've just crimped that one in position, and then the next one and crimp that in position. So we've got that arrangement at the top, that arrangement at the bottom. I'm now going to attach a weight onto a Rotobait. I'm using a Continental pyramid weight, clipped on, and then that is the rig. And let's just see how long that came out from end to end. 2.5 foot, 2.5 foot exactly. Going to hang that up out the way. Now it's time to work on the hook snood. Hook snood, so hooks wise for this, I am looking at, look through some hooks that we've got. I've got an idea what I would like, but there's no point liking if you haven't got it in. There we go. A size 2.0 hook, Cox & Royal Specimen Extra. I'm only going single hook on this. Single hook, because there's no need for the pennel. I'm going to be using a worm bait, fishing this rig for estuary bass. So 2.0 is plenty. And we don't want to go too heavy with the hook snood. Water's been quite clear recently, so the easiest way to measure that off is to go less than double. And tie it onto the hook snood. It's quite cold today, so my fingers aren't working, even though the sausage fingers, they're not even working well as sausage fingers. So that is the hook snood tied onto the swivel. And I'm just going to look at going up and over the rig and back down to see where we are. And that's good, so that's going to be okay. As long as it's shorter when it's gone up and over than the body itself, then you can adjust the rig to suit. Tie my hook on, 2, 3. I like this knot for these one because the tag end comes out facing the same way as the line going in. And when you're baiting up with your hook, with your worm baits, you can use a blood knot as a stopper to hold worm on the hook, or you can use this knot to make it easier to feed the worm up the hook. So we'll go up and over and it's going to be too short for that because it's going to need some adjustment. And put it into the Rotobait. These are quite strong hooks, these are. Probably a bit butch for estuary bass. That's adjusting nicely. And bring the top down as well. And there we go. One ready up and over rig. Maybe a little bit of tension. That's a beauty, see, so you can just adjust it as you see fit. And there we go. And there we have one Trident up and over rig. Just try it out. That's fired off. And then you've got your hook snood that's laying low. And you can actually, when you cast one of these out and it releases, don't just let it all just fall to the bottom in a mess. Just draw back with the rod tip and lay the rig out, and then you will lay it out, and then the tide or the current will take over with what you got, with your hook snood. So I'm just going to set that up once more just to double check before I make a load of them. I'm going to make a few. Yeah, it's lovely. And there we have it. One Trident up and over using Breakaway adjustable crimps, Trident tackle, Coxon Royal Specimen Extra 2.0 hooks. How many hooks are in there? I've got 2, 4. I'm going to make 5 of these. 5 of these so that I can put them in the wallet, take them fishing tomorrow. I'll film it, I'll share it, and you can watch it, and we'll see how we get on. See if we like it or not. It looks fishable. Whether it catches fish is another matter. Well, as always, it's been a pleasure. Take care, tight lines, happy fishing. From me, for now, from here in the workshop, it's goodbye. Take care and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.